So the next detail I needed to cover in the engine bay is the power steering pump. Another thing that I never got done. So we're going to just go straight into the power steering pump detail, and I'm going to take you to the car. Hello engine bay once again. So I removed the power steering pump from the engine bay and I gave a little cleaning, and when before I actually unbolted everything, you see here there's one of the power steering hoses and here's the other one right here. And before I took all that apart, I siphoned the power steering fluid out of the reservoir tank because I don't want to, loosen everything up and then have that pump just dripping fluid all over my subframe. So it was quite a bit of fluid. I mean, that's all the fluid that was removed from the reservoir. So I'm not going to be reusing that. I'm going to get new fluid. So at the same time, you could say that I'm going to be doing a flush just by adding in brand new fluid. And I'm also going to just go ahead and even though this hose is fairly new, I'm just going to go ahead and put in a new hose since I have some extra laying around just to, give it that extra detail. And the detail that I need to take care of is getting it to match all my other accessories. My air conditioning compressor is chrome, my alternator is chrome, and all the pulleys are chrome. But the power steering pump, the only thing I was able to do was add in a chrome pulley, as you can see here. Now I had to add in a pulley when I first did the engine build because the pulley that I had originally was the wrong one for what I wanted to do as far as belt routing. So I ended up buying a chrome one, but getting a chrome power steering pump was quite expensive. So I opted to do something different. I found that they do sell just the reservoir in chrome. And so I'm going to continue with keeping the power steering pump in silver. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this pump. This pump works flawlessly. So why would I have to, buy a whole new pump setup just to get the chrome? So I went ahead and bought myself a chrome reservoir tank. You can see here. And then, of course, a chrome cap to go with it. So the process involved is removing this pulley and removing the pump from the reservoir so that I can actually go ahead and switch that out. And that will give me my chrome power steering pulley and therefore complete the accessories in chrome. Now to do that, to remove this reservoir, I need to remove this screw, which is a screw, and this screw. Removing those three will allow me to just pretty much knock out this reservoir from the pump. Of course, I will have to remove this screw also because the pump does have an area for me to grab onto with a vise so that I can knock this free. And once I knock it free, I'll get to turn the camera back on and show you what I got. Okay, so I removed the stuff that was on the back of the pump. Basically, it's just these two bolts and of course this entire setup. When you first take it apart, you're going to take this out right here, and then inside you'll get to take out these two parts, and they pretty much go like this inside the pump. That's the order that they go in. So now I'll take you to the pump. So I got the pump situated in my vise, and here are the three parts that I just showed you. The two bolts, and then of course the big one here with the spring and everything, which goes inside the actual pump. And so now I need to remove the reservoir, and basically this is the part that you can hook up onto a vise, and all you got to do is just hit the actual reservoir outward. So I'm going to put you on the tripod and take care of that right now. Let's see. Let's get you a really good view. We'll do it right there. So let's see if I can take this out. There it goes, coming out. There. Let's get a rag here in case some fluid drops out. And there it is. Let's just dump the fluid right here so we can take a look at this pump casing. So you have a good look at the pump itself. So that's pretty much what the pump looks like. And I see that there's an O-ring right here. There's an O-ring right here. And is that an O-ring? Yes. And 3 O-rings. And then there's another rubber O-ring right here, which is the sealing point for the pump against the housing. And that's what the pump looks like on the inside. See if you can get a good look at that. It's not that bad. It's a little dirty, but it's not bad at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the auto parts store and get me a brand new sealing kit. And all I gotta do is just pretty much paint this over again in silver. And you're gonna clean it up and give it a nice paint job, make it look new again, and pretty much just bolt on my new housing on there, and I got a nice chrome looking power steering pump. I was giving the pump a cleaning and I figured I might as well put this on video for you guys to see. There's a magnet on here that collects metal shavings. I didn't know that. I really didn't know that these pumps come with a magnet. So it has a lot of crud on it. So I'm going to be cleaning that off, and I'm going to clean the whole pump, get all the crud off of it, and it'll be as good as new. This pump has never given me any problems, so there's no need for me to change it. And of course, with my new chrome housing, it's going to look like a brand new pump. So I just wanted to show you that that magnet. You can see here it actually just pretty much sticks on to the housing, just kind of magnetizes to the housing. So I'm just gonna clean it up and put it right back where it was. Ew, sludge. So I got my new seals. Here's the old seals that I removed from the pump. The 3 O-rings in the back that seals the pump against the housing, the reservoir housing, and then this large one which seals the large hole against the entrance of the reservoir tank. So I got that all set up, and I'm also going to replace this O-ring right here. This is the old one. This actually went on this part here, which is where the power steering line, the pressure line, gets connected to. Since it's been removed and I want to ensure that I have a good sealing, I might as well put in a new O-ring so that I ensure that it's going to seal. So those are all the things I replaced. Also, I decided to go ahead and do some modification to the bolts. This one here had some threads sticking out in the middle of it, so I just cut it off, sanded it down nice and flat, and gave it a clear coat. And then for the nut that connects the pulley onto the shaft, I gave it a little polish and also clear coated it. So now for the color of the pump, I decided to go with chrome paint. You see the aluminum paint here, and you can see the chrome. So I thought that the chrome more closely matches, you know, this chrome, even though chrome paint is never fully chrome. But since I had it left over, if you remember when I did the front markers, the modification I did to the front markers, I actually bought this chrome paint to paint the inside of the housings. So since I had it here, you know, and it's pretty much a full can, I decided it'd be perfect to paint this, and I think it looks a lot better than the silver. I mean, it's not exact, but what I like about the chrome is that it's just much more reflective than the silver I was using before. So now all I got to do is pretty much put it all back together again. So here it is. I installed the power steering pump reservoir with the power steering pump, and now my engine bay matches as far as all the accessories go. Got my chrome air conditioning compressor. I have my chrome alternator down there, and now my chrome reservoir pump for the power steering pump. And so that was good. Now I installed also a brand new return line. So we got my return line on here, and because this reservoir had a slightly different angle for the return line nipple, I was able to route this hose a lot closer to the subframe, therefore giving me additional clearance between the #1 header and the hose. And when I routed it, since it's riding pretty much on top of the subframe, I did it in such a fashion so that I have at least an 1/8 inch to 3/16 inch of clearance between the actual subframe and the hose, so I don't have any rubbing issues. So there it is. It's all in there, and I'm very happy with the results. It was definitely well worth it. It's been something that I've been wanting to do since I put the engine all together, and it's a good thing that this option came up for me to find a reservoir in chrome, and I got it at a really great price. So there it is. Now the engine bay looks a lot nicer than it did a week ago. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching.